inspiration so divine. Flip them scripts, endless grace you'll find. Psalm singing sweet, unbroken lines. Hitting that rhythm, wordplay refined. Anybody in here blessed? Anybody in here blessed? Bible in 1 year, we don't rest. Anybody in here blessed? Wake up early, the dawn's light shimmers. Spiritual breakfast, soul food dinners. Isaiah's vision, Ezekiel's figures. Walk through the fire, no one limbers. Kings and judges, prophets profound. Plowing the word, no mythical ground. Verse after verse, wisdom's bound. Heavenly soundtrack, soul serving sound. Anybody in here blessed? Anybody in here blessed? Bible in 1 year, we don't rest. Anybody in here blessed? No shortcuts, all divine routes. Listen to the whispers, no room for doubt. Parables drop stronger than gold faucets. Souls hydrated from divine prophets. Study the book, change perspectives. Carefully crafted, not too subjective. A year to reflect, learning perfect. Patterns of grace that time can't deflect. Old Testament drops deep and so real. Kings and warriors, covenant seals. Split that Red Sea, divine reveal. Commandments written, not made of steel. Bethlehem birth to cross on the hill. Unfolding the never blessings, pastor with skill. Scripture flip, every verse fulfilled.
Through the word, every verse, every chapter, nothing unheard. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered. Spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ. Flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Your emotes in the chat, praising the message. Flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick. Raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions. Streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extends. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Yo, online sermons, holy vibes delivered. Spreading light, got the sinners reconsidered. Psalm to psalm, man's like a holy DJ. Flipping through scripture, repping the Yahweh. Your emotes in the chat, praising the message. Flat cap on point, teaching eternal lessons. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow. Keyboard clicks, holy words they stick. Raining blessings down with a slick rhyme trick. Virtual congregation, united in devotion. 1 year strong, a spiritual promotion. He's a life coach with divine instructions. Streaming holiness, no room for interruption. Flat cap changed the game, new pastoral fame. Virtual shepherd, he's embracing the mainframe. In the comments, affirmatives and amens. With each Goliath tackled, faith extends. Everybody in here blessed, I'm blessed, I'm blessed. 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 Digital pulpit, preaching like a pro. Followers grow as the faith overflow.
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Glad to have you here today. So, just checking on where we were at and what we've got done. And we, according to, let me show you this. According to the schedule, we finished August yesterday. We finished August. The great month of August has been completed in our Bible reading plan. We're so on top of things. See, this is why I don't worry about being behind, because you know what? That's normal. That's normal for most people. At some point, you get behind. The thing is, a lot of people go, "Oh, let's just give up. We're 2 weeks. Wait a minute, almost 3 weeks behind. So what? So what? You just read the next one and you keep going. It's a lifelong experience to continually read in the Bible, and if you get behind, it's just part of what happens because life is real and life gets in the way. So anyway, just putting in there what we've got next. So we're gonna do 2 Corinthians and knock that off. Oh, let me just mark that. We did that and cross this row off because we're not doing the Psalms and Proverbs on stream. Those are all on your own. But I got to finish typing in, and I was just working on that before the stream started. So we'll see how that goes. But that's where we are. Thanks for the look, Galaxy. Good to see you here, friend. Love that you are here so faithfully. And everybody else that just lurks or watches the VODs. Yeah, just talking with a few streamer friends, and they're feeling a bit of discouragement right now. They're feeling a bit of discouragement as the trend is school has started, schedules are changing, there's movement around where people are at, and they're just not feeling the enthusiasm. They're just not seeing the number of people that are regularly in their stream where it has been. It's taking a dip. And you know what? I was just thinking, maybe that's why they have September for Twitch. Maybe they've realized that, and so that's why they put September in there to try to get that enthusiasm back up. Hey, Kit Beardstone, yeah, lots of busy going on right now. Yeah. By the way, also, just want to show you that place on my mug there. There's the place on my mug, and there's still some room. Still some room over here for some more things to get on there. But this one's almost full as well. Artsy Bible, hey, welcome in. I did start listening to one of the podcasts yesterday. What do you call it? Well, the Deuteronomy 32 Worldview. I don't remember if that's what the title of the podcast was, and I understand that they were taking a bit to explain what that is as they start out their stream and all of that, but frankly, I thought they would have taken more time to look at the potential spiritual things in there, like for instance, they're going through Genesis, because I started from the beginning. I'm not sure how many podcasts, but like the serpent in the garden, they just overlook the possibility that's a spiritual being. The two trees in the garden just overlook the possibility that it's spiritual beings. And I'm just like going, oh, I thought you were going to bring out those things, and they're really, yeah. So, anyway, you mean to make a more inclusive list? Yeah. So anyway, I binged a bunch of that yesterday, the intro, several episodes. And then they were going in one episode in a direction that just, well, it seemed more of a theological bent that you have to agree with than anything that was in the text, because it was a side conversation. So I switched. This is in the middle of my 49-mile ride yesterday. I switched over to Beam. I was like, I need a little bit more uplifting and challenging. So anyway, hope you're doing well. And thank you. I do appreciate getting suggestions on things. I haven't listened to the one that's sermons. I'm not sure if I'm going to jump in to a sermon podcast. I put it on my list to check out, so I will check it out. But I'm more inclined to just having people diving into the text and pulling out other stuff. So I will say this: if anyone comes across a podcast, okay, not that's really what I need, a podcast on early church fathers, okay, like they're gonna go dive in to any of their names. They're almost all of places, and I'm not good with their names. Shoot, just blanking on any of their names right now. But what I'm thinking is before 5th century. Any of the church fathers before 5th century. Yeah, Polycarp. There you go. There we go. Exactly. Like if somebody's going to go through and do like a 10, 12 Origin. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Those early church fathers before 5th century and go, here's what Polycarp was dealing with. Here's what Origen was dealing with. Here are their things that they taught and they believed and how they approached scripture and all that. I would love to have that. I have resources I could go read. And frankly, they're not the most exciting, and they've been on my list or on my shelf for long periods of time. So, yeah, probably not going to pick a book up and read it. But if you come across any of those, even if it's just a short little, hey, we're going to do a 3-part series, would be great. So to the day. Good morning. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you're all doing well today. I'm doing good. I've got a couple of meetings set up for today, which I'm pretty excited about. Yeah, a couple of meetings which have taken a while to set up. I've been trying to get these meetings. One has been canceled twice, and the other one took like 2-3 weeks to get it set up to begin with. I've heard of that book, but I don't know it, Artsy. Will the Real Heretics please stand up? I have not read that book, but I have heard of it. So, I also have thought about perhaps next year, won't be this year, perhaps next year, looking at some of the pseudepigrapha or the apocrypha, which actually what I might do is like get the Ethiopian Bible, not in Ethiopian, but I mean the books that are included in their canon, and take a look at some of those books, because I don't know those books, or at least I have not studied them. I might know of them. Maybe I read it once or read sections of it, but that's one thought, because there are believers who have different canons, and canon is the books that are included in their Bible than Protestants do. So, but that's my tradition. So anyway, let's get into the word today. So we are in 2 Corinthians 5. And again, when we're reading any of the letters, we get one half of a conversation. Paul has gotten a letter or has gotten correspondence from Corinth, and he's responding. So maybe there's 1-2 letters that came to him over a series of time, and now he's writing back. Or maybe a letter came, and along with the letter came more information that the letter bringer would have brought. Or maybe he's gotten just eyewitness testimonies, depending on how you want to read his interaction. But we're still, no matter what, we're only getting one half of the conversation. So that makes it sometimes difficult to fully know what he is addressing. We also have culture, time, and space that are in our way, but we're going to do our best. Okay, what were we covering last time? We were talking about the eternal weight of glory, the veiling of the face like Moses did, the veiled faces that are now on people so that they cannot see and fully understand and embrace who Jesus is. There is a veil that is a veil of separation. And let's see where he goes after that. For we know that if our earthly house, the tent we live in, is dismantled, we have a building from God, a house not built by human hands, that is eternal in the heavens. For in this earthly house we groan, because we desire to put on our heavenly dwelling. If indeed, after we have put on our heavenly house, we will not be found naked, for we groan while we are in this tent, since we are weighed down, because we do not want to be unclothed, but clothed, so that what is mortal may be swallowed up by life. Now, the one who prepared us for this very purpose is God, who gave us the Spirit as a down payment. Therefore, we are always full of courage, and we know that as long as we are alive here on earth, we are absent from the Lord. For we live by faith, not by sight. Thus, we are full of courage and would prefer to be away from the body and at home with the Lord. So then, whether we alive or away, we make it our ambition to please him. We must appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may be paid back according to what he has done while in the body, whether good or bad. Okay, so a whole bunch going on here. Let me see what it says. Earthly house here, dwelling place, heavenly house, reference to a heavenly dwelling of the previous verse has been specified in the translation for clarity. So they're just finding heavenly house here to match the heavenly dwelling there. Taken off instead of put on. This alternate reading would change the emphasis of the verse from putting on the heavenly house to taking off our earthly house. The difference between the two readings is one letter, either of which may be a mistake for the other, especially when written majuscules, which are the caps. Enjoy strong support. Okay, so there's a variant here of, are we taking off the earthly or are we putting on the heavenly? Okay. But I think our dwelling place, we are the tent, the dwelling place of the Spirit of God. Chua, welcome in. Doing well. So he's going back to, and he's talking about sowing death and life and a stench of life and death and all of that. Hey, RCN, welcome in. Morning, sir. Well, my wife and I got safely home, praise Jesus, from our 25th anniversary in Thomaston, Georgia, and be in health ministries. 23 hours of driving? Oh, my goodness. It sounds like planes, trains, and automobiles. See what I did there? Well, I'm glad you're home. Wow. What? So you went to Georgia to be in health ministries? That was where you went for your anniversary? I don't know what that is. Was that? But anyway, happy anniversary, my friend. Happy anniversary. Yeah, 25th. 25th was pretty special. I just had in my memories. Yeah, absolutely. Share a link. 25th. I went to Alaska for the 25th. So I went the other direction. I went north to Alaska for 25th. Oh, wow. So they've got a lot of different things. Interesting. I will have to check that out more. The spiritual roots of disease, that's a fascinating idea. I'm not opposed to it, but I like how they're saying disease as opposed to some other things where I've heard where they just want to have it all spiritual, so to speak. If you're anxious, depressed, that's usually with mental health. They just dismiss it as an actual thing and only spiritual. But this is physical health. Cool. I'll have to check that out. And Lady Palace, welcome in, friend. Good to see you here. Okay, so Paul's talking about our physical bodies, a heavenly body. We're not in our physical body. We are in a physical body. We will have something better in eternity. So But he also, there's some familiar, we walk by faith and not by sight, is in here. Is in here. While we are alive here on earth, we're absent from the Lord. I think that's either reference to specifically we're absent from Jesus or we're absent from the Father. But we have the Spirit. And he's also playing around with the what is preferred and what is real. And then he throws this. We must all, hey, prayer time, absolutely. Let me know what we need prayer for, Lady Palace. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that we will be paid back according to what everyone has done in the body, whether good or evil. Yeah, good or bad. See, and I think that when you say evil, it has a connotation of morality, which then makes the good a constitution of morality. I don't think it has to be that. I don't think it has to. I don't think all of our deeds have to have a moral factor to them. Our deeds can simply be good deeds, bad deeds. If we go look at several of the Old Testament readings about things, it just says good or bad, good or bad. And it's just generic form of good. Like, this tea is good. It's not morally good. It's just good tea. Lady Palace, hi all. Please keep me in prayers. My job is ending the 22nd of October next month. Pray for God to grant me motivation and direction to find the right and good permanent job. Yeah, because you often are under these contract jobs that don't have long-lasting things. Also, I'll share this too. I applied, or I sent my profile. That's what my denomination calls like your resume. It's a specific, here are the questions to answer and send so that everyone's answering the same things. And then the last one is share anything you want. And then I just put a whole bunch of stuff down there. Yes, you really need a permanent job. Yeah, exactly. So let's pray for Luce's. I know a few other people who have recently talked also around jobs. And when I met last week, there's several of the transition pastors, which is what I had been doing. And that group, there are not openings right now. Suddenly that shift in COVID where a lot of people were moving on has changed, and there's not a lot of pastors looking to move any longer or churches that are vacant. So let's pray. God, we're just lifting up Lady Palace Athena in her job search. Her job is ending, and we pray for direction, for discernment, and for something permanent, that you will provide an opportunity for her to have something that is fulfilling, that meets her needs, all of her needs, and allows her to use her strength and skills, and also where she has the freedom to share faith among that community and with others. And for so many right now who are in that place of searching for employment, some of them are underemployed. It's not what they are doing, have been trained or called to do or skilled to do. And for those who are in between trying to search what's next, give them discernment and direction. And God, we just want to trust in you. You provide for all of our needs, and there are so many I know who are streamers trying to pursue you in that. And so, God, I just pray that you will pour out your blessing upon them, that you will meet them right where they are, you will lift them up, you will just spread the good news for the kingdom and provide for the needs of those who are doing that. And for Lady Palace's dad, who is at last home, we continue to pray for his health and his recovery. And now we're praying for the next thing that she's able to focus on, finding a job. So God, just lead, guide, and direct. Give us your provision. Provide for us. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, Lady Palace. Appreciate you, friend. Thanks for hanging out here. Appreciate it. Okay. So in light of what we were just talking about, being in the body, not being in the body, being a tent, being naked, being clothed, being in the spirit, Therefore, which means we need to know what we just read beforehand, because this is the implication of it. This is the outflow of it. Therefore, because we know the fear of the Lord, we try to persuade people, but we are well known to God, and I hope we are well known to your conscience too. We are not trying to commend ourselves to you again, but are trying to give you an opportunity to be proud of us so that we might be able to answer those who take pride in outward appearance and not in what is in the heart. Ooh, so we want to take pride of what is in the heart. Wow, that's such a good thought. Like, I know that what I'm doing here on stream is coming from the heart. I want to share God's word. I want to dive into God's word. I want to love on everyone else. And you know what? Frankly, the church doesn't get that. The church doesn't understand. The church still hasn't figured out what to do with people meeting and gathering online. Where it's like, no, we've got to change and go back. We can't change. We've got to. But I know what the outward appearance is, and I'm sure streamers get this a lot. In fact, I know they do. Oh, you're just playing video games. It's not real ministry. Oh, yeah? So why then does youth group not get the same thing when that happens? Or the men's fishing group that gets together. You just want an excuse to go fishing. You're not really doing ministry. And I can pick on any other thing. Like, I got a friend who has barbecue church. I've done pub theology. I've done, church in a bar. Those kinds of things. Oh, you're just trying to do something for fun. It's not real ministry. Really? Because I think you can use anything that you enjoy as ministry. Anyway. For if, if we are out of our minds, it is for God. If, we are of sound mind, it is for you. Love that play. If I'm out of my mind, it's for God. If I'm in a sound mind, it's for you. Ooh, what a great way. I have a sound mind to care for those who God has put me in contact with. But if I'm out of my mind, it's for God. For the love of Christ controls us, since we have concluded this, that Christ died for all. Therefore, all died. And he died for all, so that those who live may no longer live for themselves, but for him who died for them and was raised. There's the key. He died for all, so that those who live should no longer live for themselves, but for him who died and was raised. Why am I doing anything that I'm doing? Because I am trying to live for him who was raised, and I'm trying to die to self every day. I'm watching 1 Corinthians 9:22. I think gaming on a worldwide platform counts. Yes, exactly. To the weak I become weak, that I might win the weak. I become all things to all people, that by all means I might save some. Yes, exactly. Kit Beardstone. As a former full-time pastor, I've been reluctant to mix the worlds, so to speak. Only recently did I start even multi-streaming on your Facebook profile, because there are a lot of folks who have known me over the years that wouldn't understand this type of ministry. Well, to that point, a lot of people who've known me over the years, Kit, have always known I'm weird and I'm out there and I'm not going to ever be mainstream anything. So I understand, yeah. Which I'll tell you what, I knew all along that stuff I may post online, or I preach from the pulpit, or I challenge people on, they're not going to like, they're not going to agree with, and it would cost me opportunities to advance in career. But frankly, ministry, in my opinion, isn't about career. So to that point, as I was just looking through the different places that I could go apply to around me and put my resume in, so to speak, some of them just feel like, wow, this, like, the size of the church. It would be one of those things. Like, I look at the number of people that are in attendance, and I look at the church staff, and it would be, oh, wow, if I could be one more rung higher on the list of prestige of having a larger church. So what if it's not the right place and they don't let me do the things I want to do? In fact, one of those places, I know the pastor who's overseeing them right now until they find a pastor. It had a one line in there that said they really want to find and responsibilities of the new pastor would be helping them to be able to figure out online ministry and connecting community and doing online stuff. And so I messaged him. I didn't apply, and I said, is this really what the church wants? Or is it just like the search committee that thinks they want this and they're saying it because it makes sense? Because frankly, if that's what they want, I'll apply to go to that church. It might mean a diminishing of other stuff that I'm doing, but it might not. But also, that would be a place where I would then have prestige behind me within my denomination to push what I think should be happening in digital out in front of more faces. So I haven't applied. I'm relying on my friend to help me understand if I should or shouldn't do that. But I also am like applying for full-time things and going, but I can't sacrifice what I'm doing. And how many churches are going to understand what I'm doing? Well, if you don't understand and you're not willing to risk and say, sure, we'll let you try that or show us how that works. I don't know. I'm watching. Amen. I tell folks all the time, my streams are not for everybody. I meant to be a small streamer because the intimacy promotes openness for folks who do get me and what God is doing through me. But that's my ministry, not everybody's. Exactly. I totally agree with that. That if you are small is not a measure of your success. Especially you can take Twitch, for instance. Like, I would not feel successful if I had 3,000 people watching me and could not engage chat. I'd feel like a phony up in front, like only about myself. It would feel awful to me. Now, I think there's a capacity at which I can grow into and have a larger chat and still maintain connections, but there's a cap. I don't know what the cap is. Is it 100? Is it 200? Well, it depends on how many are in chat and how many are watching. I don't know what that is. But as long as it's small, it's relatively manageable to engage chat, and you can always put it in slow mode. Ukulele. To people who say, oops, just jumped on me. Ministry. Show me other ministries that meet several days a week, shares the word, and prays over people's needs. Does your ministry meet sick in their homes and unbelievers walking in randomly? Love that. Yeah, exactly. The forsake not the assembly of yourselves together, I actually think might have been, because if you read through the book of Acts, it says they gathered daily in the temple courts. They gathered daily in the temple courts. I think they were getting together daily. And the person that didn't come was the one who wasn't gathering. And they weren't gathering for worship. They were gathering to build each other up. I'm watching. I'm legit not looking to grow. I ask God all the time to keep my stream basically under 20 people on average. Thunderous applause. Exactly. Okay. But this all ties into the passage we were just reading, or the section we were just reading. And he died for all, so that those who live should no longer live to themselves, but for him who died for them and was raised. That's what we're doing. And I'm not saying there can't be mixed things in there. I'm also one of those people that's like, it's truly hard to have pure motives on anything. It is truly hard, but it's why am I doing it? When I analyze these things, when I get temptations for things, because good grief, the temptation in at ReachCon was to feel like I should be on stage. I've been streaming and I'm a pastor and I should be up there. And no, no, there are other people with a lot more experience, a lot more to share, a lot more to give. I'm the encouraging guy, and I've always been the encouraging guy. And like Barnabas, like if I don't know if you've ever read what it says on some of my places where I've got stuff. I think over on my Discord, go read what I have listed for Discord and who I am. Lady Palace. Motives might be pure initially, but it might sway to some selfish later on. Yeah. I think that's fair. And what I'm saying is I'm not like if I have 3 reasons for doing it, right? 1, I just love to be in front of people. 2, frankly, I love to hear myself talk. But 3, I get really excited about the Bible and I want other people to get as excited about the Bible. That's the thing that'll keep me coming back. That's the thing that'll keep me motivated. Because if it's the other things, and frankly, I was talking about this earlier, I go look at my viewer count, and it's not as good as it was last week, and it's not as good as it was a month ago. The selfish motivation doesn't keep me here. The pure motivation keeps me here. And I think that's a good thing to remember. Yeah, that's intrinsic motivation. Yes. I've always been better with intrinsic motivation. Like, if I don't want to do it, rewards won't get me to do it. They really won't. Ukulele, that's one of the things being part of a group or other streamers helps with, not getting too self-oriented. Oh, true. Anita K. I would say Anika's Cakery. Sorry, getting you confused with someone else. Anika's, welcome in. Good evening. Yes. Also, yeah, you get. There's the both sides of that. There is when you watch someone else excel and succeed, you can become jealous. Like, even if you think about let's just pick a sport, for instance. If you suddenly have someone who is the star player making all the baskets or scoring all the touchdowns, you get some jealousy towards the accolades and the praise. But you're still on the team and you're still winning, and you can be a vital part of the team, playing your vital role. And so it's a team win, but it's still easy to do that. So, all right. So then, from now on, we acknowledge no one from an outward human point of view. While I love that thought, I don't know how to not do it. I don't know how to not do it, to evaluate people from a human point of view. Even though we have known Christ from such a human point of view, now we do not know him in that way any longer. So then, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Look what is new has come. So this section has a lot of verses we know. So I don't view you from a human perspective. I need to view you through you are new creation in Christ. So and I'm just picking on something that comes to mind. If you were a drug addict and you come to Christ, I view you as a new creation. If you slip up, if you fall back into it, if you still struggle with it, I view you from the point of view of you are a new creation. You don't have to remain there. You can overcome. You can move out of that. You are getting better. The old has passed away. That was who you were. I don't call you a drug addict anymore. I call you a brother and sister in Christ. So that's what I'm saying. It's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do to change that viewpoint of something. Let me give you more, like, if you've ever gone through one of these phases in life where you're like, I want to put off the older self. So I used to wear polo shirts all the time. You know, they just got the 3 little buttons. They pull over. And after I lost 50 pounds, I'm like, I don't want to wear those. Those are a sign of who I formerly was. Those remind me of just pull a shirt on, cover it up, and go about your day. And it's like, no, I want to look nicer. I want to have a different feel when I'm somewhere else. And so, and before that, I wore lots of t-shirts. So yeah, last month I was showing a lot of swag and wearing t-shirts. It's not my norm. I don't wear them as often anymore. So I've put off the old self. I've put on the new self. Do I still at times look in the mirror and go, I wish I could lose another however many pounds I think I should lose? Yeah, I still do. Do I get discouraged that this year I haven't been able to lose weight? I haven't been able to take any? Yeah, I do. But I can still look and go, no, I'm not who I used to be. And I think that's where we get discouraged around things at times is the old is passed away. The new is still in process, but it also, the new is here. The new has come about. That's a nice way to put it there. Yeah, very discouraged. I'm fat. Well, I could say, I think very, very few people I know that don't think of themselves as fat or overweight. And I don't want to judge anybody where they're at. Donnie raising the hand. Hi. Oh, that's just a hi. I was going to say, are you raising your hand? But it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to fall back into things. It's, yeah, Unskinny. There we go. Isn't there a song, Unskinny Bop? I'm just throwing that because I don't hear Unskinny that often. That was why that came to mind. Anyway, if you're continually working on it, if you're continually doing it, and it's not a matter of having self-control, having programs, having all of that, you're pleasantly plump, or 3D. It's assessing the motivation around what you do and where you do it and how you do it. And frankly, there are people who have medical conditions that are going to prevent them from being in better health. Our food system prevents us from being in better health. So there are lots of causes. And when you realize that you can only take ownership of a small part, then that's the part you can take a part of and work to improve. Yeah, like for instance, like if you've seen my skillet meals, if you've seen my skillet meals, like I am trying to eat really healthy, make everything from scratch to not seemingly doesn't make any difference. There's where discouragement comes in. Unless I think of the old is gone. The old is gone. The scale might not show it, but it's gone. It's not coming back. All right. Wasn't trying to pick on any particular thing there, just trying to use the reality of my clothing to kind of talk about that. Appreciate the conversation, everyone. And all these things are from God who reconciled us to himself through Christ and who has given us the ministry of reconciliation. In other words, in Christ, God was reconciling the world to himself, not counting people's trespasses against them. And he has given us the message of reconciliation. Therefore, we are ambassadors for Christ as though God were making his plea through us. We plead with you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. God made the one who did not know sin to be sin for us, so that in him we would become the righteousness of God. So, I just love this whole reconciliation. Let's go look up that word in the Greek here. The ministry of reconciliation. The message of reconciliation. So let's go. 1 Corinthians 5. Oh, sorry, 2 Corinthians 5. Okay, so let's go with reconciliation. Oh, reconciling, imputing trespasses committed to us, reconciliation. Katalage.
Strong's G 2643, Katalage. Katalage.
Lagay? Okay. Exchange of business of money changers exchanging equivalent values. Whoa! I didn't know that. Exchanging equivalent values? Adjustment of a difference, reconciliation, restoration to favor. That's what we're looking at. Restoration to favor. So, if we look at the Old Testament, we have this phrase often that comes about. If I have found favor in your sight, grant me my request. If I found favor in your sight, hear the prayer that I'm praying and answer me. Favor, we usually look down upon somebody who has a favorite child. Okay, it's not favorite, it's favor. Okay, so it's a standing that is in excellent standing. Like for instance, examples of this are when someone does something like Herod's stepdaughter dances and he says, I'll give you up to half my kingdom. Whatever you ask, I'll give you. She found favor in his sight. She was pleasing. She had done something that brought great joy. We are exchanging our sin nature and being reconciled, being restored to favor before God so that we are pleasing before God. It's just beautiful. So also, that's the whole world. That's the whole world. All these things are from God who reconciled us to himself through Christ and has given us the ministry of reconciliation. So the act of Christ happened. Our role is to make the pronouncement and bring everyone else into restoration with God. This is one of my favorite sections here. This part here. Therefore, we are ambassadors for Christ as though God were making his plea through us. We are the ones who bring the good news. We are the ambassadors. We're the representatives on earth of what Christ has done, of what God is doing to the world who does not yet know and understand. It's as though God were making his plea through us. Yet he's not. It's the movement of the Spirit. So our obedience is not a matter of whether or not people accept and turn to God and seek God and are restored. No. Our job is just the messengers who proclaim it and then afterwards help disciple people into it. It's not, hey, Johnny Darko, welcome in. I proclaim the good news of Jesus. I share about what God has done for me. And you go, meh. And then I go, oh, I'm a failure. That the one person I was supposed to save didn't get saved. We don't save anyone. Christ is the one who does the reconciling, not us. But we get a participation in it as though we were actually necessary. We're not necessary. We're invited into it. And so those who don't choose to do anything about their invitation, who are not seeking to reconcile the world, are not seeking to live out, and that can be the people who are far away from God. That can be the people just like, I got my own personal faith. I don't need to share with anyone else. I go to church and I just do that. You're missing out. You're right. God doesn't need you to do that, but you get to participate in that. And so, it's so much joy to be part of the kingdom and working for what God is doing. All right, what are we at time? Oh, we're good. I just checking if we had. Nope, we don't have an ad break coming up. Boy, I'm blanking on words today. Like I have the thought in my head, and there's like a wall that it can't get through today. Had that earlier with trying to remember things of early church fathers. Now I just had it again. Not sure that means anything, but I do try to take notice when I have mental things happen, if it's a one-off, if it's a reoccurring thing or not. Sorry, I swallowed wrong. Before we go on, let me just share this. So, oh, wrong one. Here it is. So we are passing the cap. If you haven't been here when we've done this before, I've been somewhat trying to. I hate that and choking on air too. Oh yes, Laura. Good morning. How are you, friend? Hope you're doing well. So we had done this in the past on a regular basis where we pass the cap to help someone in need. And you help me find those people who have a need. So right now, and I love that when someone has a GoFundMe, I don't need to go out and have any money come through me. You can just give directly to the cause here. So my friend Josh, Mikey is his friend, and his dad is fighting prostate cancer. And so I don't know all the deals of this, what is medical cost, and what is we raise money to cover the cost of the surgery, and that was projected by the doctor. So most of this is also in Ontario Health Insurance Plan. Okay. So anyway, if you'd like to give, if you've been blessed, if you're able to give to others, here we go. And look at this. I love this. 1,525. Yeah, give what you are blessed to be able to give. And we had someone with a $5 donation. Well, if you can give, you give what you can. And we bless others, and it adds up. Not that no one could do this whole goal. I couldn't do that whole goal. Right now, I couldn't do that. I'd love to, but we share our blessings, and we bless others. Okay. Donnie, try explaining why the you shouldn't need the threat of hell to be a good person. Argument falls short at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm not sure I totally followed you there. Yeah, Laura, it's been a while. How have you been? I've been doing good. You woke up not long ago. You missed Maria's stream as well, but haven't been awake up in time for hers. Yeah, I know how that goes with different time changes and schedules and those kinds of stuff, but I'm glad you're here. But Donnie, I'm going to say on another side note thought of that, of threats actually stopping people from doing something, I don't think threats actually stop people from doing something. Because if threats stop people from doing something, murder would never happen. Because if you're caught, you're going to jail for life. If you're caught, maybe you're killed. So there being a penalty for murder has not stopped murder from taking place. It can, in certain scenarios and for certain people, be enough of a factor to stop them. But the person who has decided that that is a thing they are freely going to do, and they don't have value of human life in any capacity, punishment is not enough to stop them. So, I don't think that the threat of hell is something that I ever think about. I would say not being pleasing to God is something that's a lot more like if you've ever had your parents say, I'm disappointed in you. That was much more of a hard thing to deal with than getting punishment. I could handle the punishment. I could deal with the punishment. I could get through the punishment. But when I knew I disappointed my parents, that hurt. That hurt. Human emotion trumps logic way too frequently. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, crimes of passion happen all the time. True. BRB, need tea and breakfast. Well, we'd love a good spot of tea, Laura. What are you drinking today? Let me get an email. I've got the English breakfast going. My Earl Grey canister is empty. I need to refill it since last week, and it's on the list. I haven't done it, so just drinking away at the English breakfast, which is all good. Okay, Donnie, you shouldn't need the threat of hell to be a good person. Okay. Is an argument against the idea punishment for sins is normally a way to try and trip up a person of faith, or a way to promote the idea of being a good person without objective reality. Okay, that makes more sense. Well, and depends on how you see punishment versus consequences, right? So I have consequences on my arm here of healing from falling. So there are consequences that I'm still dealing with because the thing happened. And the same is true when we sin. I want some hot honey lemon tea. Got to be okay with the Sam's honey for now. I like buying the local honey. It helps out a lot. Or I should say, there's some thoughts that it is more beneficial to have local honey because of the bees being in your area. Johnny, turning towards Jesus and turning away from sin out of desire to want to walk with the creator of the heavens and earth is what makes someone good, not through a threat, but through love. I love that, Johnny. Nice way to say it. Laura, orange pico, usually in the morning. If you don't know how to pronounce it, it's pico is how. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Your favorite verse, by the way. It is a verse that gives a lot of comfort to many people, but I also do encourage, make sure you know the full context of that, because it's given in a time and place where it bad is going to happen. Donnie, the way I describe it isn't not a matter of being a good person. We as human beings can't even live out to our own standards, let alone God's. Yeah, and it's also a matter of how do you define good. Is doing something good and righteousness. Also, by the way, go read Hebrews if you're struggling with being good and what does it mean to be good. Go read through Hebrews 11, the Hall of Faith. By faith, all of these people did things. Yeah, go look at the list of people in there and then remember all the screw-ups they did. They are counted as faithful and righteous, not because they didn't make mistakes, but because they continually persisted in pursuing God and loving their neighbor. So, if you are consistently seeking to pursue God and love your neighbor, I would count you as righteous, regardless of the mistakes you make. Romans 3:12. They are all gone out of the way. They are together become unprofitable. There is no one that doeth good, no, not one. Yes. Again, we have to define what do we mean by good. And then I also think the when and where is that verse talking about? Left to our own devices or in through the power of God and through his son? Context always makes a difference. All right, let's get back to our context. Now, because we are fellow workers, we also urge you to receive the grace of, not to receive the grace of God in vain. Oh, uselessly. Yeah. Don't just receive the grace of God uselessly. For he says, I heard you at the acceptable time, and in the day of salvation I helped you. And now is the acceptable time. Look, now is the day of salvation. We do not give anyone an occasion to take offense in anything, so that no fault may be found in our ministry. But as God's servant, we have commended ourselves in every way with great endurance in persecutions, in difficulties, in distress, in beatings, imprisonments, in riots, in troubles, in sleepless nights, in hunger, by purity, by knowledge, by patience, by benevolence, by the Holy Spirit, by genuine love, by truthful teachings, by the power of God, with the weapon of righteousness, both in the right hand and for the left, through glory and dishonor, through slander and praise, regarded as impostors and yet true, as unknown and yet well known, as dying and yet to see. We continue to live as those who are scourged and yet not executed, as sorrowful but always rejoicing, as poor but making many rich, as having nothing and yet possessing everything. This is quite a list of how he's describing. We're in this. It's a roller coaster. Following Jesus is a roller coaster. The person who brought it up actually came back with, then it is impossible. I was like, exactly. Now you get it. Then went into the gospel. Oh, awesome, Donnie. Laura, I grew up in a Christian home and accepted Jesus in my heart as Savior as a teen myself at Bible camp. So I know. Yeah. I love this. We do not get anyone occasion for taking offense at anything. What do we have here? Not putting an obstacle in the way of anyone or giving no one in anything a cause to sin. Okay, so this could be, we're not doing anything that causes someone else to stumble, as well as take offense. Okay. Like, just look at the list here. Just look at the list here. Can you, in endurance, in persecution, in difficulties, in distress, in beatings, haven't experienced that. In imprisonment, haven't. In riots, nope. In troubles, what does troubles mean? Distress, troubles, okay. Synonyms. In sleepless nights, in hunger. Sleepless nights, yeah, it's hunger, no. Purity, knowledge, patience, not good at that. By benevolence, by the Holy Spirit, with genuine love, truthful. What was the truthful? The word. Oh, we got an ad break. Sorry, everybody. Fish time. Let's go feed the fishies.
Flat cat pastor rocks his tweed, streaming life by the reeds. Fish pond calm and glassy clear, view it all right from here.
If you were here yesterday and you saw, I showed you the pellets. I did get some of the pellets ground up today, so you can see them drifting downward. So the fishies should be much happier than they were yesterday, having to try to munch on them big pellets. I do need to get the tank cleaned out, though. Need to get that. If I can get it done today. Not sure.
Flat cat pastor shows the way. Stream it live.
I also need to get a pleco in there. I can't keep. Like, it's funny. The tank behind me with the guppies stays green. I can't get it to turn white because I had tried to get, or I should say clear. It's still got some chloroform in the water, no matter how much I have done water changes. I can't get rid of it. And then the other one, I've got nothing that is cleaning up afterwards. Oh, thanks for the clip. All right. So anyway, that's that. You know, those little things like that you go, oh, I didn't get it done. Oh, I can't get that fixed. Oh, just persist. Just like Paul is talking about here. Persisting in genuine love, in truthful teachings. Oh, what is the word for teaching there? Or speech. Okay. Truthful word, and teaching. Okay. or speech. From glory and through glory and dishonor. I love that. Through slander and praise. Regarded as imposters. Like, oh my goodness. Could this totally be like the way that a bunch of Christian streamers feel? That regarded as worthless, being dishonored, being slandered, regarded as imposters. And also, not all of you who are streamers are supposed to do the same thing. Many of you are playing games because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to play games to build relationships with people so that you can live out your faith in front of them in a loving way. Yes, talked about here. And in truth, showing and demonstrating. By the way, the passage that says speaking the truth in love, the word speaking is not in that text. Just throwing that out there. It is truthing in love. Truthing in love. How do you truth without speaking? You act. It's your behavior. You truth in love, not speak the truth in love. I really do not like that translation. It puts all the illness on our words. It's not the words that we say. It is our actions that we do things. It's our walk, our way of life. I think that's what we have here as well. He's living out. He is demonstrating things. And yes, there's a couple references to speech because he has occasions to declare the truth because he's brought before councils and other things. He's persecuted in front of them. And he's defending the faith. He also talks about being rich and being poor, having nothing and possessing yet everything. Again, perspective on what's happening. Lori, you love the music? Thanks. Who was it that made it? Trigger Boss 007 has made all my music. All right. We have spoken freely to you, Corinthians. Our mouths have been open to you, an idiom of openness and communication. So they're giving us a translation of the idiom instead of leaving the idiom, which is fine. Our hearts have been open wide to you. So they're paralleling our speech and our hearts. Our affections for you are not restricted, but you are restricted in your affections towards us. Now, as a fair exchange, I speak to my children, open wide your hearts to us also. The word my is not in the Greek, but is implied. The words to us are not in the Greek, but are implied. Okay, I understand why they're putting it in there. Because if I just read it, I speak to children, it sounds like pointing the finger at, open your hearts to us. Open your hearts also. It's like a demand. But if it's not, now, as a fair exchange, I speak to my children. Open your hearts to us also. So the implication there of it being to the children and you being my children and you open your hearts to us. Boy, does that soften the sound of that from being an accusation to being loving father. At least I see that. Do not become partners with those who do not believe. For what partnership is there between righteousness and lawlessness? Or what fellowship does light have with darkness? Okay, what is the partners? Do not be mismatched. Okay. And what agreement does Christ have with Beliar? Is a spelling variant for Belial. It occurs only here in the New Testament. Beliar is a reference to Satan. Yes. Belial, Beliar. Okay. So, if Christ and Satan can't be on the same team, then those who are doing evil can't be partners on the same team with those of us who are followers of Christ. Or what does a believer share in common with an unbeliever? And what mutual agreement does the temple of God have with idols? For we are the temple of the living God, just as God said, I will live in them and walk among them, and I will be their God, and they will be my people. Therefore, come from their midst and be separate, says the Lord, and touch not unclean things. I will welcome you, and I will be your father, and you will be my sons and daughters, says the all-powerful Lord. So those are quotations from the Old Testament there: Isaiah, Ezekiel, Samuel, and Isaiah. Oh, I guess some others as well. We go back up to 24. So Paul's making a case. So when and where do you apply this? I think the Corinthians specifically are doing this probably at their new moon festivals with the guilds that some of the people would be in. You can't be in the guild that's worshiping another god and participate in those ceremonies and the things that are happening and be following Jesus. You can't mix the two. You've got to be solid on who you are serving. And I think that's one of the occasions where they had that. On the topic, Johnny says, of this reading, my wife was hostile towards Christ since she was traumatized in the church when she was a child. When she was saved last year, Easter, our marriage has been so much more fulfilling. Oh, Johnny, that's so awesome. I also don't think, for instance, that Paul is talking about marriage here at all. I'm not saying that you can't apply this to marriage, and that there's good wisdom in taking that into account with marriage partners. I certainly would do that. I think there's other passages that address marriage in that regard. But here, I think it is participation in worldly things. Like I said, of the guild. Say, what? You're renewing your vows on September 99. You're celebrating your 9-year wedding anniversary. Oh, Johnny, that's awesome. No, I don't think this is about marriage. Do not be partners with those who do not believe. Where does it say marriage in here? Let's go look up the word partner there. We'll go look. I don't think this has anything to do with marriage. I'm not saying you can't apply it. I'm saying the topic isn't marriage. Nowhere in here have we been talking about married people. So I don't think that we should assume that we just switch to marriage. So 2 Corinthians 6 and verse 14.
Strong's G 2086. Heterazugeo. Heterazugeo.
Do not come under a unequal or different yoke to be unequally yoked. To have fellowship with one who is not equal, where the apostle is forbidding Christians from having intercourse with idols. So this word is not so. For instance, Artsy, but maybe this is helpful for you. When Bima talks about the yoke of a rabbi is coming under the teaching of the rabbi, following the lifestyle of the rabbi, you are yoked with that person because you've taken their yoke. Their yoke is their teaching. So if you are unequally yoked with the world, you are taking on the teachings of the world. So if your guild is telling you you've got to worship this God and do these things and all of that, it is taking on the teachings of the world. It's taking their yoke. So don't be unequally yoked with the world. Don't be so I don't think that this, like, to me, that seems like the natural reading to not be yoked with the world's way of doing things. Sure, it can be applied to a marriage partner who might believe and follow another God. That would make sense. But yes, this is figuratively, not literally. The idea of yoking is a metaphor for taking on the teaching of, which when Jesus says, my yoke is light, or my yoke is easy, my burden is light, it's about following the teachings of Jesus. It's about following the rules of Jesus, living in the footsteps of Jesus. So do not become yoked with a non-believer is about following and participating in and living the life that believer believes. So I think that's what it is. And that could be a business partner for us today, because we don't have these guilds and guild celebrations and all of those things that would be happening. Should we apply this to our spouse? Yeah, I think that's wise, but I don't think that's what Paul's addressing. We can absolutely apply it that way. I just don't think that that's the number one thing that Paul is thinking about. I think he's thinking about corporately, what are the believers in the church participating in the culture around them? And it would have been all of those pagan celebrations, God worship, guild festivals, those kinds of things. You can't match an idol worship and Christ, which would also then fall in our marriages, I think. So it's the default down the way. We can apply it there, but I don't think that's what the teaching's about. So anyway, I could be wrong, but that's how I see it. Trigger Boss 007 in the house. In the house. Welcome in, friend. Let's go back to here. What are the quotes in? For we are the temple of the living God. Yeah, see here, again, it's temple. And we corporately are the temple. I don't think that does anyone know, is there a reference that speaks of husband and wives together as being the temple of the living God? I don't think there is that I can think of. There is you as an individual, perhaps being the temple of God, we corporately being the temple of God, but I don't think there's one that talks about marriage being the temple of God. Not say you can't apply it there, but I'm just saying he's talking about the temple and living in a way, so matching the temple, like what they were doing in the Old Testament. They're bringing idol worship in, mixing it in with God. You cannot commingle those two things together. Donnie got a drop alert, got a few things you got to get done. Donnie, I appreciate you, friend. I haven't been able to catch your stream in a while. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're still posting stuff. I haven't seen any posts recently. I love what you were posting. And keep it up, friend. I think it connects with people. Okay, so he's just had about partnership with the world. The closest you can think of marriage is between the model of Christ and the church. Yeah. Again, then the church is the bride together, not individually. Pop Taterhead! Good morning, Flat Cap and Chad. Have a blessed day. Thank you, Papa. Appreciate you, friend. Reread that, please. The closest I can think of is marriage being a model of Christ and the church. Oh, okay. Being a model. Right. I was thinking temple-wise. But yes, that being Christ in the church, marriage isn't about the temple. So, yeah. I was thinking Christ and the church being the bride. I was reading the implication of what you were saying differently, not Christ and the church being the model for marriage. Okay. You haven't posted anything lately, but you will try to get back into it. Haven't been the most motivated lately. Yeah. I understand that. I've gone through, yes. Okay. I've had that too, where it's, you have an ebb and flow of things. You have an ebb and flow. Totally get that. All right, moving on. And again, like, someone made the decision to put these titles in here. Unequal partners. I mean, they went with partners here, which could imply marriage, but I don't think it's there. Here, self-purification. Okay, why do we think this is self? What do we have in the text? Let me read the text. I wish there was since this is electronic, and regardless of who it is, you could have a little button that says, don't put titles in. Erase all titles. Leave them out. Let me read the Bible. Cracks open the ESV Study Bible. It does say in here that this passage is addressing the people of Corinth who are rebelling against Paul, but it can be used more broadly. Yeah, exactly. I don't have a problem with using things more broadly. I was simply saying I think we first need to seek to know where it applied in their lives, and then we learn the principle from it that we can apply in our lives. The same way that do not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. I really like taking it in vain sounds to me like speech, because that's what English would imply. I don't think that's what it meant to the original people. There are other passages which would have talked about that, not having things come out of your mouth, but I think it's an image-bearing thing. If you go, because it actually says, bear the name. Well, I represent, wherever I go, Christ. I am bearing the name. So when I was at ReachCon, I bear the name of Christ. When I go down to my local brewery, I bear the name of Christ. I've got pastor in my name, so people know, potentially, that I'm a follower of Jesus. So I'm bearing the name of Christ by my streamer name. I'm representing Jesus. So am I representing him well or not? So by not bearing his name well, I'm doing things that would be, people go, really? God thinks that's cool? You're acting like that? You're doing what to other people? That's pretty selfish. That's not loving your neighbor. I would be bearing the name poorly. So, okay. So moving out of that idea of not having partnership with the world. I think that's the clear part there. Therefore, since we have these promises, dear friends, let us cleanse ourselves from everything that could defile the body and the spirit, and thus accomplish holiness out of reverence for God. Make room for us in your hearts. We were wrong. We have wronged no one. We have ruined no one. We have exploited no one. I do not say this to condemn you, for I told you before that you are in our hearts, so that we died together and we live together with you. Okay, see, like if we have this to purify yourself afterwards, to me it sounds like they were participating still in the pagan rituals and the like of those things, and you don't have room in our hearts for us. We have you in our hearts. He's going back to that whole relationship thing between the church, how they were following after, praising other people. People came in and stirred them up and said, Paul's not all that. He talks a big game when he's far away. He's more timid and won't say those things when he's here. He's got all these different things, and he's still trying to appeal to them, to restore the relationship with them and end the relationship with the world around them. Johnny, I just got the ESV Study Bible, and it's really been a great tool for your daily reading. I've been using the MacArthur Study Bible, but as Pastor had mentioned, they may be a little narrow focus. Big shout out to ESV Study Bible. I would also give a caution against a single person's study Bible. Supersonic Mockingjay Cat Jam. So if it's a MacArthur Study Bible and the MacArthur commentary, or Matthew Henry or John Calvin or Luther, I don't have anything against those people individually. I simply think when it's one individual, they're going to have blind spots. They're going to have agendas. I don't mean that in a bad way. They in a good way. They have an agenda. And they're narrow focused, exactly. So I am not in favor of a singular person's stuff. The same way I would say, go check my stuff against others as well. I would call what I do is biblical theology. I'm trying to get it straight from the source, looking at it. I bring in knowledge and information that I have learned and gleaned over the years. I try to test what I've learned. I want you to test what I say with others. Do you need to believe everything I say? No. Am I 100% accurate? Oh, my goodness, no. There are things now that I see that I didn't see before. There are things that I might hold to, but I can hold them loosely. Like, here's my best understanding, and it could be wrong. So, also... yeah, I could say other things, but I'm not a person that likes to tear anyone down, so I'll just leave it at that. Johnny, I'm starting to see that as well. They're good to cross-reference, but just have one can lead to blind. Yes. Yep. Also, interesting thing is, even if, I'm going to make a broad statement here, so you can disagree with me. Even if you are an ultra right-wing conservative, and I don't mean politically. I'm going to say that from a a religious standpoint. Even if you are ultra right wing conservative in your theology, you can learn from people who are ultra left wing progressive in their theology. They're going to study things. They're going to see things. They're going to bring to the conversation things that your side of the conversation will never address. So you can go and learn from people who are on the opposite side of the spectrum and vice versa. If you are ultra left-wing, progressive Christian, you can learn from the ultra right-wing conservative side of religion that approaches it from a different perspective. Because you're going to see things differently. You're going to find things in the text that are missed from the other perspective. And we do that together in community. Now, those two sides might not have an easy time being in community together, but I don't think that should be a hard thing, because they were able to do that with Jesus. They were able to do that with Jesus. When Jesus could have a zealot that wanted to overthrow the government and a Herodian, a tax collector, who wanted to collaborate with the government, you can't get more opposed to each other than those two. And then throw in the Pharisees and the Essenes. I'm going to live upright perfectly before and uphold everything of the law and make laws to make it so that I can't even break the law or get close to breaking the law. And the Essenes who said, let's drop out of society, go off and live the way that God wants us to, away from everyone else. You can't have four more opposing views than those. So we can learn from each other. We can learn from each other no matter where we are. The study notes are not inspired. That is how I read a study note. Oh, true. Study notes are not inspired. Exactly. Yep. Balance yourself. Yep. Searching out the entire debate on all sides, seeing where everyone is coming from is healthy. Loving the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Yeah. RCN, learning is for the weak. Down with learning. Oh, I totally knew that was a just kidding. Because that was beautiful sarcasm. That was top-notch Michigan sarcasm. I don't think you're from Michigan, but that northern part of the world, blue-collar sarcasm that, oh my goodness, it's so outlandish and it sounds true the way that you emphasize it, that it's like, oh my goodness, you don't mean a word of that. Oh, that was so good. Oh, there's my joy for the day. Learning is for the weak. Okay. So, don't participate. Don't be unyoked. Purify yourselves. Restore relationship with us. That's what Paul is seeking. I have great confidence in you. I take great pride on your behalf. I am filled with encouragement. I am overflowing with joy in the midst of all our suffering. Sorry, I was going to say your suffering, our suffering. For even when we came into Macedonia, our body had no rest at all, but we were troubled in every way, struggling from the outside, fears from within. Yes, people, Paul just admitted fears from within. Those of you who struggle, and I do from time to time, but not on a regular basis. My level of that is low. My wife's is high. My daughter's is high. Fears from within, like the things that you fear, the things that are going on. Your mind goes to play all the bad scenarios. Mine doesn't. So I said this, by the way, any of you here are married, this is not advice. So this is not advice. This is an error. We did not have money to pay the bills early on in marriage. And I would tell my wife, nobody's going to show up at the door and shoot us because we don't pay our bills. She hadn't thought about that. Now suddenly that thought was in her head, that something worse than she had thought could happen. I thought it was comforting, like, we'll be fine. That's what I was trying to say. We'll be fine. No, that was not comforting. So, Is it me, or is the website that we're reading from on the screen is much darker than normal? Okay. I did change some settings there, so I can lighten that up and let me know if that changes things. Display settings. I was trying to take down the reflection level. Is that better? Yes. Oops, Marriage 101. That's typical. A man's brain thinking, yes, yes. Don't worry. They won't come shoot us. She thinks, I'm gonna die. Yes. Oh, so it wasn't just you. No change? Okay. Okay, I moved it more. If that doesn't change it, I'll change the setting back. I changed this setting, which gave less reflection, but I didn't know it was too dark. What setting was it? No change still. Okay. Try to remember what setting I changed it to. No, it wasn't that. And it's not that. Yeah, I was playing with these the other day, and I changed one of the settings. Can't remember what it was. Nope, it's not the hertz. Oh, what was it? I'd say I'll do it later, but then I won't know if it's changed for you entirely. What was it?
One resin just rated with 55 viewers.
What? One Reason coming in with the rain! Hey! Welcome in, everybody. I guess I'll have to redo this later. I'll work on that later. Let's get my raid song in. Alright, who do we got coming in? One Reason coming in with the raid. Thank you, friend. Hope you're having a blessed day. Hope you had a great stream. Shelly Thunder, welcome in. Glad to have you here, friend. It's Miss Lexi. Hey, how are you doing, friend? I haven't caught your stream in a while. How was your summer? How was your summer, friend? Hope you're doing well. Also, everyone coming over. Let me know what it is you love about One Reason. Give me one reason that you love One Reason. There was my Pleco. We were talking about him, and he showed up on screen and was going to knock over SpongeBob's house, which he normally does. Shelly Thunder, good morning, mod, fam, and chat. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we don't have to watch all of that. Just welcome in DJ HB. Good morning. Welcome in. DD Kind Music. Welcome in. It's Miss Lexi. Good morning. My summer was good. You did a lot of traveling since work was slow. Well, that's great. That is great. So glad to have you all in here. Yeah, I was just at a conference and I had this cool board made for me. I was at ReachCon. So I have been a pastor for over 20 years. Currently not working at a church. I stream online Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Reading the Bible in a year is what we are working on. You can see I got some fish behind me. I've got another channel that is fish. It's usually live on the weekends is when that is going on. Just to let you know, let's just look at fish real quick. Oh, you can see Wywis right there. Wywis is my albino plecostomus. He's a pretty big guy there. But let's look at some of the others. These are the baby koi.
Streaming life by the reef.
Here is the pond where they were born. Well, I guess they were spawned and then I brought them in, hatched them in the house. I do have an underwater cam that I show on my other channel. Here is my mom's house on Lake Superior. I do sunrise and sunsets from there. It's getting to the time of year where sunrises are going to be behind the trees and you won't get to see as much. And if you look at the water, you can see, yes, it's not just a still shot. There is movement there. And those are the guppies behind me. Those are the guppies, which that snail in the forefront is making it out of focus, which they sometimes do. So, do have another channel that just got started because I want to do that for some time. You can go check that out. It's One Dapper Koi Pond if you want to do that. Otherwise, you want to join us here for the Bible. You've got to raid and run. That's all good. Appreciate you for coming in. All the love to you, One Reason. You know what? Did we get a shout out for One Reason? Let's make sure we get a shout out for One Reason. If you're not following One Reason, you should be. You need the gospel pick-me-up. You need some joy in your life. You just need to have the mood set. That's one of the places I go and check out. Great family, great community over there, and a great man who's connected with other people. So thank you for bringing your family in and sharing. Now let me just see if I can get caught up on chat. DJ Courageous, welcome. And One Reason, got the blessed vibes each morning. Exactly. Lexi, I love the One Reason stream early. I get to start work off with good jams. There you go. He's a huge baby. Let me share one other thing that I do here. We do Pass the Cap. So, if you know someone with a cause that's going on... Oh, I need to share the camera here. So, a friend of mine, Josh, his friend Mikey, his dad. See how that connection happens? Is fighting prostate cancer. So, if you would like to give and help someone else, if you've been blessed and you're able to help others, we do a thing called Pass the Cap. So we've been blessed. We want to bless others who have need as we're able to give. So if you can keep Mikey's dad in your prayers, as well as if you're able to give, there you have it. And if you come across someone that is in need, you can share that in the Discord and or DM me, and I'll connect with them and see if we might raise funds for them. I usually do it for 2 weeks. And I see that Luce has put in the Blessing Boat. Yes, Blessing Boat is a once a month, third Saturday raid stream. I will be on there this Saturday as well as my fish stream. So there'll be two times you can see me hang out, 2 different streams hanging out on Saturday. Luce is redeeming the no cap for 5 minutes. Redeeming the no cap for, oh, I thought I typed it. There we go. Starting now. The hat is off. What's funny is I posted a VOD from the other day when I had my hat off, and someone was concerned that it wasn't me and that maybe somebody had hijacked my channel. Yes, he does have hair. Sure, I do. If you had other questions, I think that's enough about me. I hate talking about myself and introing myself. I need to get a VOD. They push play. Hi, here's who I am. Welcome in. Maybe I need to do that. But anyway, yes, fancy hair. Well, it's getting long. It's getting long, and November's around the corner when I go really short. So, Lucis Redeem shape. Yeah, that, for charity, I have done that. Did not. Okay, those coming in. This is the Bible reading plan. We're following along with reading the Bible in a year. We're behind. I'm behind. People in the chat, if they're doing it on their own, might be all cut up. But we are doing 2 Corinthians right now. That's where we are at. Bald is beautiful. I think everybody is beautiful. Just depends on how you perceive things. Because variety is fantastic. So we are in 2 Corinthians in the 7th chapter. Paul has been writing the Corinthians, and one of the things is we don't have the other half of the letter. We don't have the letter of correspondence that Paul is responding to. But it sounds like, as we're reading it, that they have been continuing to participate in worldly things, that they have diminished, and like Paul isn't important. They're not sharing love with Paul. They've got a disruption in relationship there. Paul is seeking to restore that relationship. He's seeking to restore their relationship with one another and Christ. And so he's called on them to purify themselves. That's where we were just at. DJ Cariza, a wizard is never behind. He reads precisely what he means to. Yes. I do like the meme that is a Calvinist is never late. He arrives precisely when it was preordained for him to arrive. So, yes, we will arrive precisely at the end of our Bible reading, exactly when we're supposed to. But the wizard, I don't think I've heard that about a wizard, but I'm guessing that is a line that I don't remember too well from Gandalf, would be my guess, but you know what? That's not a movie I quote. It's not a movie I quote. I quote comedies. So, here we go. Learning more. All right. Let's get back into our text. And by the way, ask questions along the way. Yes, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship. Yeah, I knew it was. I was thinking it was one of them, DJ. It sounded like that. When it said a wizard is never, that sounded like Gandalf. So, but if you have got questions, if you go, I'm not sure about that. It could be about the text. It could be a thought that pops in your head. If we're reading this and you suddenly have a thought about something else, ask. Okay? We go down all kinds of rabbit trails around here. One reason we're not on schedule, so to speak. But what we do is we love engaging. We love reading. We love diving into the text. We love asking questions of it. And so you are free and welcome to do that as well. 60 seconds left on the no hat. I have great confidence in you. I take great pride on your behalf. I am filled with encouragement. I'm overflowing with joy in the midst of all our suffering. So knowing your faith gives me joy when I'm suffering. So Paul, for instance, when he's in prison, can have joy knowing what's happening with the believers and the growth of the kingdom. For even when we came... Oh, we know what? We read this. Where did I leave off? Okay, there's where it was. I'll just read it again. For even when we came to Macedonia, our body had no rest at all. We were troubled in every way. Struggles from the outside. Fears within. That's where I was talking about. Paul having fears. But God who encourages the downhearted, encouraged us by the arrival of Titus. There we go. Timer is up. The hat is back. The hat is back. By the way, there are more hats back here. So, some people at times think I should switch hats, and now I have it where you can think I should have no hat. I'm more inclined to switch. That's more fun. Okay. Isn't this cool, though? God, who encourages the downhearted, encouraged us by the arrival of Titus. God bringing someone into connection with you brought you encouragement. Their very presence gave you encouragement. And it's God who brings the encouragement. He brought Titus there. Look, just think about this too. One reason redeeming the cap change. All right. I'll finish this thought. You can tell me which hat you want. So, in regards to a raid, think about this as any streamer. Like you can be working your way through a stream, and a raid comes in. Doesn't the arrival of a raid just bring encouragement? I don't know how it doesn't. It doesn't matter how big, how small. The arrival of a raid brings great encouragement. Same as Titus showing up. All right, so if you got a choice on what color hat, what row, or rando, we're all good. DJ Courageous, thank you for the alert. Get some work done. Appreciate it. Green, the Spinal Cord Awareness Month. You know what? My green one is upstairs. Unless you want that one. Let me show you what I got. My Irish green is upstairs. I've got this one, and I've got a dark green. If you really want the other one, Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. Okay, it's also Suicide Prevention Awareness Month as well. So let me know. I've got those two, or I can go get the fully on green one. I'll give you a BRB, and I'll grab that green one. So let me know. I'll get back to the text. Dark green is fine? Okay. Dark green it is. Dark green it is. I had just worn the other one. There we go. The other day, and so I had it upstairs and I left it up there. I need to wash that one. So that's why it's not down here. All right. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. That actually, I think, looks pretty decent on cam. The green shows up better than it does over there. All right. We are encouraged not only by his arrival, but also by the encouragement you gave him as he reported to us your longing, your mourning, your deep concern for me, so that I rejoiced even more. Or I rejoiced more than ever. So his presence gave us encouragement. The words he spoke gave us encouragement. The words he spoke were about you. That gave us encouragement. Look at the 3 different layers of encouragement going on there. Yeah, like you come in with a raid. That alone is encouraging. The engagement of people in the chat is encouraging. The other part of ongoing relationship is encouraging. Oh, such good stuff. I'm watching. You're back. Hey, welcome back. I didn't see that you had stepped away. Sorry, I missed that. For even if, I made you sad by my letter, I do not regret writing it, even though I did regret it. Wow, I can't read today. Regret it, for I see that my letter made you sad, though only for a short time. So... Ooh, numbers did. You missed a raid. Yes, you missed a raid. You must have stepped away right before the raid. Yeah, we got a great group of people coming in. One reason in the house. And I did enjoy catching part of the Spinal Cord Awareness stream on Saturday. That was great. So, good morning, Gamer Night. Now I rejoice, not because you were sad, but because You were made sad to the point of repentance. You were made sad as God intended, so that you were not harmed in any way by us. For sadness, as intended by God, produced a repentance that leads to salvation, leaving no regret, but worldly sadness brings about death. Okay, so if I correct you and you're sad about it, why are you sad about it? Because there is a realization that something you are doing needs to change and that you are not living out loving God and loving your neighbor, not following Jesus. And so when you are made aware of it, the sadness is sadness of you want to change your ways. You want to repent. As opposed to worldly sadness, that brings death. I would just go in he doesn't, let's see if he explains it, but otherwise I'm just going to go in the worldly sadness brings death because you're not changing. You're sad because you didn't get what you wanted. But maybe he's got more to that. DJ HB, I can appreciate that you're saying because I am new gospel music streamer. Hey, awesome, DJ. I know there's a lot of people with DJ. HB, yeah, we should be encouraged by each other. We should build up each other. We should rejoice with each other. Also, you should be who God's called you to be. Like, I'm doing this. I'm not going to be a DJ. I shouldn't switch what I'm doing to be a DJ. God didn't call me to do that. And anyone else who's reading Bible, don't do it the way I'm doing it. Do it the way God calls you to do it. By the way, I am reading in netbible.org. Because they've got the footnotes on the side that we can go and look those up. And also we go over to Blue Letter Bible. Is that .net? No, it's blueletterbible.org, and we look up Greek and Hebrew there as well. So just those are the resources I use because they're freely available to anyone else. Johnny, we've been talking a lot about admonishment lately and how we need to be humble and doing it with love. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking, I want to say yesterday as we started in this section, it's about restoration of relationship. If your admonishing of someone else does not lead to their repentance and does not lead to a restoration of relationship, I'm just going to say, I think you did it wrong. I think you did it wrong. So, yeah, I didn't get finished searching that out. We had the raid come in, so I will just have to fix that off stream and find what setting I changed. I changed the setting to some other setting so that it's not as bright, and I'll have to play with it later. So I would have kept doing it. We got the raid, so I just decided I wasn't going to have time to do that. So there we go, passing the cookies around. Okay. So the only reason he rejoices is they had sadness because they wanted to change. And now they are eager to change. Excuse me. For see what the very thing, this sadness, as God intended, has produced in you. What eagerness, excuse me. What eagerness, what defense of yourself, what indignation, what alarm, what longing, what deep concern, what punishment. In everything you have proved yourself to be innocent in this matter. So then, even though I wrote to you, it was not on account of the one who did wrong or on account of the one who was wrong, but to reveal to you your eagerness on behalf of God. Therefore, we have been encouraged, and in addition to our own encouragement, we rejoice even more at the joy of Titus because all of you have refreshed his spirit. So we had Titus coming. Now we're also rejoicing. One more thing that we're rejoicing. Titus was filled with joy because you refreshed his spirit. He brought that refreshing to us. Oh, that's so good. For if I have boasted to him about anything concerning you, I have not been embarrassed by you. But just as everything we said to you was true, so our boasting to Titus about you has proved true as well. and his affection for you is much greater. When he remembers the obedience of you all, how you welcomed him with fear and trembling. I rejoice because in everything I am fully confident in you. So, yeah, keep passing the cookies. That's fun. Titus went with our words. You received him well. He was encouraged because you responded appropriately when he showed up. You were encouraged. That encouraged him. Then you encourage him. He's brought back. Like, this is whole reciprocal thing of this is how restoration is supposed to happen. There is a problem. It's addressed to the people who are in the middle of the problem. The reasoning of where the error has happened is fully fleshed out. It is done in love. And yes, in this case, writing the letter is speaking the truth in love. But Paul is also living that out by the person who brought the letter, Titus, who brought the letter to them, it seems like. And then now Titus is bringing it back. So when these letters would have been sent, you would have had, and I'm just using this as the letter, it would have been a scroll. So I'm bringing this to you. I have this. There's a seal on it. I am to read this to all of you. More than that, I am to explain and answer questions about it because I know and understand what was meant to be said in here, how it was meant to be said, and you have it. Now, the interesting thing is before you would have scrolls and parchments being sent and letters sent, a messenger would have had to learn and memorize the message and then run to deliver the message to the person who was to receive it. And so you'd have to memorize it all. It wasn't always written down. So here, just think about the blessing we have of these letters being written down so that we can rejoice with them, we can learn from them, and we can do the same for one another. All right. So Paul has confidence in them. He's been restored to joy because they did exactly what he said. Like, I told Titus how you'd respond. I told Titus how you'd receive this. And he reported back to me. You did exactly what I said you would do. I knew you so well. I knew you so. I knew your heart would break when you find out that you thought you were doing the right thing. You had good intentions, but you misapplied it. And as soon as I corrected your misapplication of this, he went, oh my goodness, we better change. And now up above, he was correcting something else that he's heard that they're doing of still participating in some worldly things. I think it could be, new moon cult things that are happening, new moon guild things, not the pagan worship of festivals. I think they've gone, maybe they few are doing that, but maybe I think they've figured out they can't do that because of the first letter. But now I think they're like, oh, wait, there was one more aspect that you were still participating in that you need to give up. So, all right. Continuing on. Now we make known to you, brothers and sisters. By the way, if you do not know this, the Greek phrase here, and it has this footnote every time it says brothers and sisters. The Greek phrase does include everyone when it says that. It has a case ending that does explain that it does mean brothers and sisters. Traditionally, many Bibles only it had brothers in English, and it was implied that it was everyone. However, as times have changed, to just say brothers has become not inclusive of women. And so when the text does have the word that is inclusive, it translates it as brothers and sisters. So just so you know what's going on there, if you've not read this translation, or if you've read other translations that done that, why they've done that. They've decided that we need to be inclusive when the text is inclusive. Now, some will just do that every time. Some will never do that, and some will do that and leave a footnote when the text, the Greek word, shows that that's the case. So, just an aside, if you've not been here before and you've not seen that. Okay. Now to make known to you, brothers and sisters, the grace of God given to the churches of Macedonia, that during a severe ordeal of suffering, their abundant joy and their extreme poverty have overflowed in the wealth of their generosity. For I testify, they gave according to their means and beyond their means, They did so voluntarily, begging us with great earnestness for the blessing and fellowship of helping the saints. They did this not just as we had hoped, but they gave themselves first to the Lord and to us by the will of God. So they are in a famine, they were in persecution, and they still gave beyond what they could have or should have. Like if you said, oh, just give so much, they went more than what would have been expected, more than they had to. They put themselves into further potential stress and strain by giving more than would have been reasonable. Thus, we urged Titus that just as he had previously begun this work, so also he should complete this act of kindness for you. But as you excel in everything, in faith, in speech, in knowledge, and in all eagerness, and in love from us that is in you, make sure that you excel in all acts of kindness too. Okay, let me just go look. I like when there's a list. I like to see how many are there. As you excel in everything. Okay, so that's a broad category. In faith, in speech, in knowledge, in all eagerness, and in love, make sure you excel in kindness as well. So there are 5 things that they're excelling in. 5 would be the Torah. 5 would be a representative of the thing. So you are excelling in obedience to what God has done. But hey, wait, there's one more. Excel in kindness too. Let's see what the word is for kindness there. That's the one that is added. Oh, act of grace too. Okay. Now I got to go look that word up. Okay, so 2 Corinthians 8:6. All right, so we click on here. This gives us all of the Greek. And we go look up the word. Same. Oh, it's charis. Charis, grace. Oh, I didn't see the ad break
Strong's
coming in.
G 5485. Charis.
All right. Ad break. Those who have turbo, who are new here, I usually go and feed my fish, and I've got. Ooh, we can see the sun started to peak out behind there. Let me go feed the fishies. And ad breaks are a chance for me to get up and stretch.
Dapper man with sax in hand plays tunes by his quiet land. Acoustic guitar in the breeze serenades the fish with ease. Watch the fish, they swim along to the rhythm.
Yes,
of
feed the fish
his
time.
song.
Feed the fish time.
Flat Cat Pastor shows the way. Stream it live, come what may.
Yeah, when I feed them, they all come over to the camp, and now it's frozen. Why'd you freeze? Okay.
Life in ponds so serene.
It's probably the Wi-Fi. The fish cams are on Wi-Fi. So, all right. So we were looking up the word charis, which is grace or favor. Is often, you see, grace is 130 times is how King James translates it. So grace, that which affords joy, pleasure, delight, sweetness, charm, loveliness, grace of speech, goodwill, loving kindness, favor. So I think that is the expression that we are getting. So the merciful kindness by which God exerted his holy influence upon souls. Wow, that's a weird way to phrase that. Turns them to Christ, keeps strengths, increases them in Christian faith, knowledge, affection, and kindles them to the exercise of Christian virtue. So yes, charis is translated as grace. It's also where we get the word charity. It's where we get the word charity from, is charis. So I think that's where our translation here is doing. It is acts of kindness. So your charity. You are doing charis. You are blessing other people out of, it's just in line with what was there before. but thought I would look that up. So there we go. I am not saying this as a command, but I am testing the genuineness of your love by comparison with the eagerness of others. For you know the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, that although he was rich, he became poor for your sake, so that you, by his poverty, could become rich. So here is my opinion on this matter. It is to your advantage, since you made a good start last year, both in your giving and your desire to give, to finish what you started, so that just as you wanted to do it eagerly, you can also complete it according to your means. So Paul is talking about, so that, the why, exactly. You started this last year. I'm only commending you to finish what you plan to do. I'm giving you encouragement. I'm not commanding you like you better. Like, I want to encourage you by, hey, others have done the same, and it's turned out great for them. You can finish the thing that you plan to do, and God will bless you because of it. And it's your earnestness, your eagerness to do this. So continuing, for if, if the eagerness is present, the gift itself is acceptable according to whatever one has, not according to what he does not have. For I do not say this so there would be relief for others and suffering for you, but as a matter of equality. At this present time, excuse me, your abundance will meet their need, so that one day their abundance may also meet your need, and thus there may be equality. As it is written, the one who gathered did not have too much, and the one who gathered little did not have too little. So what passage is that? Exodus 16. Oh, and this was about manna. By the way, that references to manna when they were gathering. If you gathered a lot, you had what you needed. If you gathered a little, you had what you needed. He's applying that and saying, if you have more than, you have abundance right now, you give away that abundance to others in need. And when they have abundance, they will give out to you. So equality, you know what? I should go look up that word equality. Wonder where the use of that word is. Thus there may be equality. So end of 13, end of 14. There it is. DJ, we are in 2 Corinthians. We're in 2 Corinthians. Chapter 8. Esaias?
Strong's G 2471. Isates.
Okay, I was close to the beginning with. Equality, equal. So it is used only 3 times. And Paul's the only one who uses this. He uses it back to back in 13:14. And then he uses it in Colossians, which I'm interested in what the Colossians is. Masters, give unto servants that which is just and equal, knowing that you also have a master in heaven. So, okay. Don't know that there's much more that we can do with that. That's not used very often, just a couple of times, here back to back, so that there's equality among you. There's a balance, reciprocal. I think that's the idea there, reciprocating. Okay. But thanks be to God, who put in the heart of Titus the same devotion I have for you, because he not only accepted our request, but since he was very eager, he is coming to you on his own accord. And we are sending along with him the brother who is praised by all the churches for his work in spreading the gospel. Who's this? Does it tell us? The brother in whom the praise of the gospel is throughout all the churches. Okay. So Titus is eager to come back to you. He didn't have to be told, I said, who needs to take a letter? And Titus like, let me go back. I want to go back to Corinth. And also, we're sending along this other person that you know, that everybody speaks highly of. In addition, this brother has also been chosen by the churches as our traveling companions as we administer this generous gift to the glory of the Lord himself and to show our readiness to help. We did this as a precaution so that no one should blame us in regard to the generous gift we are administering. For we are concerned about what is right, not only before the Lord, but also before men. So in other words, this other person who's coming is the one who carries the gifts. I don't handle the gifts. I don't want anyone accusing me of being Judas and dipping my hand in the till. No, this guy is above reproach. He has a reputation for that. He is the one in charge of the gifts. He also is going to come so that you can be blessed in that way. And we are sending with them our brother whom we have tested many times and found eager in many matters, but who now is much more eager than ever because of the great confidence he has in you. If there is any questions about Titus, he is my partner and my fellow worker among you. If there is any question about our brothers, they are messengers of the church, a glory to Christ. Therefore, show them openly before the churches the proof of your love and our pride in you. So we don't get the names of the crew, but it seems to me, depending on how you parse this out, there's a crew of 4 to 5 people who are going. And they're going there. The one who's had the reputation to collect your gift will take your gift. The one who has been spoken about by all the churches that everyone prays is going. Titus is coming. All the partners are coming. And when you get there, love on them. Love on them. Just embrace them, accept them, lavish them with whatever you can to prove your love and our pride in you. We know you're going to do this. We know you're going to do this. Isn't that cool? Like, okay, so this would seem like, okay, it's a letter, welcome these people, show love to them, show hospitality to them. Why do you need to have that? Hospitality is one of the greatest gifts that there is. I mean, hey, Crusader for him, just checking in. Thank you, friend. Hospitality is one of the greatest gifts we can have. It's not something that is so much demanded or thought of in Western culture, but in Eastern culture, it is one of the supremacies of things that you can do. The stranger who is wandering in the desert, you give them a place to stay. You welcome them into your home. You feed them. You give them water. You see that in Abraham. He does that, goes out of his way when the visitors come to make sure they're provided for and cared for. Why? Because when you are also in the desert place wandering, you need the stranger to welcome you in. You just heard the Greek word for hospitality last night. Do you remember what it was, Artsy? It's not. It might be in this text, but it didn't translate it as hospitality for our purposes here. But the gift of hospitality is the welcome of the stranger. I think actually there's one word for love. I think that is love of stranger. You're looking it up. Love of stranger is one of the things that's in there as a way of talking about things. Why? Because the only way to get repaid is if you're in the same circumstance. That person probably can't repay you. That person shouldn't repay you. They should just receive from you, with you not receiving anything in return. That is not a Western mindset. That is not at all the way we think about things, or we plan to do things, or we go about things. But let's apply that to what we do in our streaming communities. We welcome in everybody, regardless if they're their first time here. We embrace and engage them in conversation. We give shout outs to different people when they come in. Right, accepting the outsider other into your home. Yeah, exactly. Now, that's a strange thing, and a lot of us don't do that, accepting a stranger into our home. I also, on the other hand, don't get the occasion to get the invite to do that. I have gone so far as when I'm out and about. Yes, the alien. Yes, the The poor, the widow, the orphan, and the foreigner. Those are the four that we talk about all the time in the Old Testament. So the poor needs to be taken care of. The widow needs to be taken care of. The orphan needs to be taken care of. And the foreigner, the alien, the one who is wandering past you, and you have the ability to bless hospitality, heap it upon them, and show them grace and mercy that you might need if you are traveling one day. So, anyway, I was saying we do that in streams. We welcome in the visitors. We welcome in the strangers. We do that in our Discord. We do that in community. We create a community that loves and embraces and reaches out to everyone else. So if you find the word artsy, let me know, or a passage that has it. We'll go look it up. Now, normally I'm scooting off on Tuesdays to a meeting, but I feel like hanging out a little bit more. So let's do at least one more chapter of Scripture, and then we'll see where we're at the end of one more chapter. So, for it is not necessary for me to write you about this service to the saints, because I know your eagerness to help. So he's continuing about, I don't have to write this to you. I didn't have to include this, because I already know your eagerness to help. I keep boasting to the Macedonians about this eagerness that Achaia has been ready to give since last year, and your zeal to participate has stirred up most of them. So I don't have to write you about it. I was telling them about your eagerness. Your eagerness that I bragged about has excited them to be a giving people. But I am sending these brothers so that our boasting about you might not be empty in this case, so that you may be ready just as I keep telling them. So this is kind of like, hey, that person that you have in your stream that's always dropping the subs and giving the gift subs. Like, I don't need to brag about that person who's always giving the gift subs around, but you know what? I'm going to brag about that person who drops the gift subs, and I see in your channel, and I see in my channel, and I see in other channels. Why? Because that person gets other people excited about gifting subs as well. That's why we get hype trains. Somebody's a gift giver, and other people get excited about the gift giving, and while I can add to this and give a gift sub, and wow, giving incites other people to give. And yes, I'm choosing that word intentionally, incite. I think that is the translation where it says we should spur one on another to love and good deeds. It can be translated incite. It is the word used for a riot. Okay? What does a riot do? It gets people in a frenzy to participate in something bigger than themselves. That's why I love that word. That's why I use that word intentionally, inciting people to good deeds. Because it's bigger than themselves. They get excited about participation in it. It's not that they're doing it thoughtlessly. The same way I don't think people in a riot do it thoughtlessly. No, they're caught up in it. They want to participate. They're seeking after it. They want the excitement of what's happening right in front of them. So exciting people to love and good deeds, oh yeah, you get them excited to participate in that. That's the beauty of that, I think. So, and we do that with raid trains. And we do that with hype trains. And we do that with all kinds of things. For if any of the Macedonians should come with me and find that you are not ready to give, we would be humiliated, not to mention you. So Paul, me, and those bragging about you, we would be, and the person from Macedonia would be, and not to mention all of you. You would be embarrassed by this. By this confidence we have in you. Therefore, I thought it necessary to urge these brothers to go to you in advance and to arrange ahead of time the generous contribution you have promised. So it's just a promise, so I just want you to be ready. So this may be ready as a generous gift and not as something you feel forced to do. My point is this. The person who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and the person who sows generously will also reap generously. Each of you should give just as you have decided in your heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, because God loves a cheerful giver. And God is able to make all grace overflow to you so that because you have enough, of everything in every way at all times, you will overflow in every good work. Okay, so I know we usually quote that other cheerful giver, but look at this. God is able to make all grace, all charity, probably the same word there, I'm going to assume because they translated it earlier, all of your charity overflow to you. So that because you have enough in everything, in every way, at all times, it will overflow into every good work, your charity towards others. Whew. Why are you a cheerful giver? Because you have more than enough. Why are you a cheerful giver? Because when you give, you receive a harvest from it. So, if I give, and I'm using this as example, so please don't think that I'm doing anything different than Paul is by just talking about things and reminding people of things. I'm not calling for you, and I'm not trying to persuade you into doing anything. But if one person gives one gift sub, they get a level of reaping joy from the one person that they gifted a sub to. And if you give 10 subs, you get to receive the joy of the 10 people that you gave subs to. Does that make sense? You get the joy back of the 10 excited people versus the one excited person. There's a level of more joy with more people that you can give. So if I sparingly give, I sparingly receive. If I generously give, I generously receive. But the important part is what you've decided in your heart. You don't do it out of compulsion, and you don't do it reluctantly. Like, oh, I better. Oh, I have to. No. Nobody has to give any subs here. Nobody has to give bid, tips, and subs. We talked about pass the cap. Nobody has to participate. I'm making you aware of a need. You decide in your heart if you can give at this time, if this is a cause that you want to give to, if it's a person you believe in for that cause. The same as the donos down there for myself. Anything else, all up to you. All a blessing whenever you give. And let's finish what he says after they overflow. Just as it is written, he has scattered widely, he has given to the poor, his righteousness remains forever. Ooh, that's an interesting passage. Where's that at? Psalm 112. Okay. Now, God who provides seed for the sowing and bread for food will provide and multiply your supply of seed and will cause the harvest of your righteousness to grow. You will be enriched in every way so that you may be generous on every occasion. So if I give generously on every occasion, I become a generous giver. I'm always looking for opportunities to give, and on every occasion I can be generous, which is producing through us thanksgiving to God. Yes, God, other people are thankful when we give to them. When we're able to bless them, God receives thanks. Because the service of this ministry is not only providing for the needs of the saints, but is also overflowing with many thanks to God. And I don't mention this often, but saints there is the believers and is the New Testament's preferred way to refer to us, not as Christians. It mentions it in the book of Acts, but mostly it's referred to as the saints. We think of saints as holy, set apart. We've kind of neglected using the saints language because of Catholic veneration of saints. And I think Eastern Orthodox and Orthodox churches do similar things. But all of us are called to be holy, and all of us are made holy, and all of us are holy. We are set apart. Okay. Through the evidence of this service, they will glorify God because of your obedience in your confession in the gospel of Christ and the generosity you share with them and with everyone. Okay, wait. Because of your obedience to your confession in the gospel of Christ and your generosity of your sharing. Okay, I want you to catch this. Your obedience to the gospel, or your confession in the gospel of Christ. What is he saying there? If I have confessed Christ, part of the gospel is that God so loved us and that we should also love others. Therefore, in my confession to be a follower of Jesus, to confess the gospel of Christ is to actually live out loving my neighbor as myself. And you do this with your generosity in sharing with them in every way. So I am giving you, and I'm reminding you of your opportunity to confess the gospel by giving. That is not how we usually think about the gospel. That's what Paul, I think, is saying here. The evidence of your service, they will glorify God because of your obedience of your confession. You are confessing by your actions. Your action of giving generously to those in need is evidence of your obedience. It is your act of confession. It is you loving your neighbor. It is you proclaiming the gospel. I know some people will argue about that you need to give a gospel presentation when you help someone in need. Paul, I think, is saying here the act of helping someone in need is a proclamation of the gospel. It's not an either or. The act of helping someone in need is a proclamation to the gospel. Now, this would be within the church and helping the others, but there is no familial connection there. There also is not a community connection there because Corinth and Asia Minor are Greek or Roman, depending on how you want to think through that. And they are giving to the saints in Jerusalem who are Jewish. So the Gentiles are giving to the Jews. There was never a religion where there was not an ethnic group that was assigned to that. You didn't bring in people from other ethnicities into your religion. You did not incorporate. You did not allow them. You were segregated. You were of Greece. You worship the Greek gods. You were Egyptian. You worship the Egyptian gods. Now, that's not to say that a culture wouldn't adopt gods of other places. There certainly was that. But here we have people of different ethnic groups, different tongue languages, different heritage, supporting others. There's the gospel. There's the gospel lived out by giving to someone who is not your relative, not of your tribe, tongue, and language. Okay, like I said, I know that's not the normal way that we think about things, but that seems to me to be what Paul is referring to there. And in their prayers on your behalf, they long for you because of the extraordinary grace God has shown to you. Thanks be to God for his incredible gift. So the charity, the grace, the cherish God has shown to you. So they are inspired by how you are following God. They hear about how you are following God. We brag about how you're following God. Your example is encouraging them. We're sharing with you about your being the encourager to them, and we know that that came from God. Oh, that's so good. All right. How long is Corinthians, by the way? 13. Okay. I feel like let's keep going. We'll do 10, and then I'll leave 11, 12, 13 for Thursday. So we'll do one more chapter, and then we will raid out. Now I, Paul, appeal to you personally by the meekness and gentleness of Christ. I who am meek when present among you, but am full of courage towards you when away. So this would have been the accusation against Paul. So he's trying to say, I'm appealing to you in meekness and gentleness. You view me that way in person, people do. Then they accuse me of being full of courage when I'm away. I'm going to do the opposite here. I'm going to appeal in meekness and gentleness. Now I ask that when I am present, I may not have to be bold with confidence that I expect I will dare to use against some who consider us to be behaving according to human standards. So there's some who think I'm behaving according to human standards. I think when you are following in the Spirit and people are set in their ways, when they think that what they have inherited, what they've always seen, what they've always known is the only way, you are going to get accused of behaving by human standards. We were talking about this before the raid in some regards to what was happening. How many outside of the church would say being on Twitch, being a gamer, playing those things, being a DJ, playing music, that's not following God. You need to be in the church building, not out there in the realm, in the world. No, you have to bring the people here. You go out, you get the people, you bring them here. It's worldly to just go out in the world and meet people and love people where they are. And I'm saying that a little bit differently, but I think you get the point. If we hang out in Twitch and we never bring them to a physical church building, their mind, we've done nothing. And I'm like, oh, we've done so much. So we will get this accusation against us. We're following human standards. We're not. We're following the Spirit's leading. At least most I talk to. That's how I think we would see it. For though we live as human beings, we do not wage war according to human standards. For the weapons of our warfare are not human weapons, but are made powerful by God for tearing down strongholds. We tear down arguments and every arrogant obstacle that is raised up against the knowledge of God. And we take every thought captive to make it obey Christ. Okay, just think about this. Like, apply this to if you're streamers or you're just in a stream community, you're a mod. I think this totally applies. We are in there. We are taking thoughts captive. We are taking thoughts captive in that space. The thoughts of, I can do whatever I want. The thoughts of, this is the thing that is exciting to me, and I need to please only myself. The thoughts of any worldly things that are in Twitch. We are taking those thoughts captive by going into this space. We are waging war by bringing the light in the darkness. We are also ready to punish every act of disobedience. Whenever your obedience is complete. You are looking at outward appearances. Yes. How many of you who are streamers, you don't have to answer this. You are accused of just wanting to go have fun. And the outward appearance is that. But they don't ever step foot in your community and hang out and know how you love on one another. They don't jump into your Discord and see the prayer requests that are happening. They don't. Yeah, exactly. I know so many that people from the church are viewing the outward appearance of being a streamer. Oh, you're just trying to get accolades for yourself. You're just trying to build yourself up. You're just wrong. If anyone is confident that he belongs to Christ, he should reflect on this again. Just as he himself belongs to Christ, so too do we. So, I belong to Christ. You think I should be doing something else? That's not what I should be doing. This is what he's called me to do. I belong to Christ. We do too. All of us here. For if, I boast somewhat more about our authority the Lord gave us for building you up and not for tearing you down, I will not be ashamed of doing so. I do not want to seem as though I am trying to terrify you with my letters, because some say his letters are weighty and forceful, but his physical presence is weak, and his speech is of no account. So he addressed this earlier, and now he's addressed it again. Like, I'm trying to address you, and this isn't because I'm more forceful in my letters. I'm trying to be meek in this. So such a person, consider this. What we say by letters when we are absent, we also are in actions when we are present. Yeah, this goes back to the point he was making earlier, that the gospel is living it out. It's not your words. The gospel is your charity. It is your acts of kindness. It is your love for neighbor. How you treat people is the gospel. So, when we're present, we don't have to talk. You get to witness our actions. When we're away, we've got to send a letter. That's the only way for you to know about what we are doing. I'm watching, says, in the world, or even other places on this platform, I might be the oddball, the misunderstood, the one with all the energy, but maybe not as much substance. In my streams, I'm a vessel used by God. I bring levity, people share prayers, and music that moves their souls. I hear that I have literally made a person's depression that day better. And I don't quote scriptures and do devotions or sing gospel, and God still uses me, even Christian ministers everywhere, or even Christian ministers everywhere, every day. Yeah, that's what we're all called to be. Is, I like to just say, are people more excited about, yes, every Christian, oh, there we go. Yes, every Christian ministers everywhere, every day. Yeah, I was reading that wrong. I was reading every Christian minister. Every Christian ministers every day. Yep, I read that wrong. That's my problem. I have that problem. I admit it freely. I read wrong. So how hard is it to read scripture wrong then? But yeah, we do this by our example. Yeah, you don't have to do it by reading scripture. I do it by reading scripture. Doesn't mean you have to. You're living it out is the gospel to those people. Yes, let the Lord's light shine out from us like a lighthouse. Absolutely, Johnny Darko. All right. For we would not dare to classify or compare ourselves with some of those who recommend themselves. So we're not going to compare ourselves to the people who recommend themselves. But when they measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves with themselves, they are without understanding. But we will not boast beyond certain limits, but will confine our boasting according to the limits of the work to which God has appointed us. That reaches even as far as you. Say it louder for the folks in the back. So we boast about you. That's how we boast. We don't boast about ourselves. We boast about the fruit that we see in other people around us. For we were not overextending ourselves as though we did not reach as far as you, because we were the first to reach as far as you with the gospel of Christ. Nor do we boast beyond certain limits in the work done by others, but we hope that as your faith continues to grow, our work may be greatly expanded among you according to our limits, so that we may preach the gospel in the regions that lie beyond you, and not boast of work already done in another person's area. But the one who boasts must boast in the Lord, for it is not the person who commends himself who is approved, but the person the Lord commends. So, we're not bragging about ourselves, okay? Please get this straight. We're not bragging about ourselves. We're bragging about you. You are the example of what we have done. And we're not looking to go start working in someone else's area. Like, the gospel's already gone to all these other places. Someone else went there. We don't need to go there. We don't need to go there. I think Rome being the only place that Paul sought to go, where he had not started the gospel and there was a church. I think that's the only reference he ever makes of wanting to go and desiring to go somewhere. So, Johnny, some boast of chariots, some boast of horses, but we boast the name of the Lord. Yeah. Yep. Psalm 20, verse 7. Trust, boast, take pride, in depending on translation. Yeah, exactly. And the difference between the way we often look at boasting and pride has to do with the recipient of it. So if I'm boasting about myself, that is my pride coming out. If I'm boasting about others, if I'm boasting about God, it's not about pride. So yeah, it's like mono-thinking a word. Like the Bible says that, pride comes before a fall. I believe that is self-pride. My pride in what my children accomplish, my pride in what disciples that I help disciple are able to accomplish, my pride and my joy that comes from watching other streamers accomplish great things for God. That's not coming before a fall. That is giving glory, honor, and praise to God. So, all right, we're going to call that the end for today. So we've read through 10. Let me go write that down. So 2. That's not what I'm trying to do. I wrote the wrong thing. Oh, that's through 10:19. So where did we end up? We're all the way through the end of 10. So 10:18. Okay. There's where we will leave it for today. Johnny, if we are boasting in people walking with God, if the pride is the godliness in someone, then it is essence boasting of God and giving him glory. Exactly. Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. I would say the caution I would have is in the boasting around my denomination, the boasting about the good my church does, because there can be a level of which I'm taking self-pride in the boasting about, well, my church does this, or my denomination does this. When you say my in front of it, and there would be my caution, you know. So, my bad, being Bible greedy. I shall release you to go forth and do your day well. Thank you. Thank you. So let's find someone to raid today. Yeah, taking pride in a sports team. That might be what we're talking about. Well, I think you can rejoice. You can rejoice and participate in the victories. I think that's fine. I think that level is fine. But yeah, you can get arrogant and prideful about it. Like if I were to start talking about a team and how many rings they have, now I think you're in the wrong. Well, I'm open to anybody, but let's see who we got. You know what? Have not rated her in a while. I believe he's going to be on Blessing Boat, so that would be pretty cool to go raid him. Laura was on here earlier. She's just getting started, so... Just, I'm looking, you know. I've got so many people that I follow. So many good people are on right now. Kingdom Building is his name. Do not know that one. Another wonderful stream. Thank you for taking the time. See you next time. Appreciate it, friend. We missed out yesterday? Okay. Rebrand. Yeah, that's not what it's not what I was trying to do. Come on, stop it. I'm trying to scroll. So let me find that. KB. Oh. Okay. He rebranded. I did not know that. Okay. Why is he not showing up in my stream then? Yeah, let's go there. That'll be good. All right, so let me get you a blessing, everybody. When I preach, we bless people at the end of the service. I believe our words have power, and this is the blessing my pastor gave to me. This is the blessing that I pass on to you. May God's seeking comfort find you. May his loving arms find you. May his might protect you. May his wisdom direct you. May the joyous love of Jesus Christ be with you and all those you know, both now and forevermore. Amen. Thank you all for hanging out with me. One reason, if you're still here, thank you for rating. Appreciate that you trust and hang out and bring your community here. I love when I get a chance to raid you as well. So many blessings upon you. Many blessings on everyone else who is here. Let's go. Let's bless other people wherever we go, whatever we do today.
Dash of new pages, chronicles, gospels, prophets, sages, Leviticus laws to Paul's fine phrases, turning them corners, no spiritual mazes, Genesis to Revelation, so divine, flipping scripts, endless grace you'll find, Psalm singing sweet unbroken lines, hitting that rhythm, wordplay refined. Anybody in here blessed? I'm blessed. Anybody in here blessed? I'm blessed. Bible in 1 year, we don't rest. Anybody in here blessed? I'm blessed. Wake up early, the dawn's light shimmers. Spiritual breakfast, soul food dinners. Isaiah's vision, Ezekiel's figures. Walk through the fire, no one limbers. Kings and judges, prophets profound. Plowing the word, no mythical ground. Verse after verse, wisdom's bound. Heavenly soundtrack, soul's urban sound. Anybody in here blessed? I'm blessed. Anybody in here blessed? I'm blessed. Bible in 1 year, we don't rest. Anybody in here?